this summer. The big dick rides have taken over the coke-soaked acres of great America. Now your death-defying 1 hour wait is for Big Dude, or the Tower of Power, or even the Magnum XL 2000. Gone are the hokey thrills of yesteryear, the furtive, darkly vaginal ones, like the haunted house, which was really the tunnel of love, which was actually the haunted house. They were too slow. They took forever. Called Grecian temples. And the poem explores, what happens when you go against nature. If you change one thing in nature, you got to change everything else. Because I'm getting pretty gray at the temples, which negatively impacts my earning potential, and does not necessarily attract vibrant young women with their perfumed breasts to dally with me on the green hillside, I go out and buy some Grecian hair formula. And after the whole process, which involves rubber gloves, a tiny vat of chemicals, and perfect timing, I look great. I look very fresh and virile, full of earning potential. But when I take my 15-year-old beagle out for his evening walk, the contrast is unfortunate. Next to me, he doesn't look all that great. With his graying snout, his sort of faded, worn-out dog look, it makes me feel old, walking with a dog like that. It's not something a potential employer, much less a vibrant young woman with perfumed breasts, would necessarily go for. So I go out and get some more Grecian hair formula. Light brown, my beagle's original color. And after all the rigmarole, he looks terrific. I mean, he's not going to win any friskiness contest, not at 15, but there's a definite visual improvement. The two of us walk virilely around the block. The next day, a striking young woman at the bookstore happens to ask me about my parents, who are in fact long dead, due to the effects of age. They were very old, which causes death. But having dead old parents does not go with my virile, intensely fresh new look. So I say to the woman, my parents are fine. They love their active lifestyle in San Diego. You know, windsurfing, high-lie, a still vibrant sex life. And while this does not necessarily cause her to come dally with me on the green hillside, I can tell it doesn't exactly hurt my chances. I can see her imagining dinner with my sparkly, young-seeming mom and dad at some beachside restaurant where we would announce our engagement. Your son has great earning potential, she'd say to Dad, who would take a gander at her perfumed breasts and give me a wink like he used to do back when he was alive and vibrant. The poem is called Jennifer. You'll see what I'm getting at in a minute. I step naked into the backyard under a full moon and piss on the rich soil at the edge of the flower bed, feeling both Whitmanesque and dog-like, mystical and silly. When I was a kid, my friends and I would pee together, crossing yellow swords, seeing who could go longest and farthest. And over the years, 3 or 4 women have asked shyly if they could watch what might have seemed to them the essential male act, brutish and comic, complexly hydraulic, full of archaic territoriality. The one act of the penis over which we have more control than they do. Maybe that's why, when I walked home a little buzzed from a Denver bar one winter night with a girl I hardly knew and desperately needing a convenient tree, she took me in her cold hand and wrote her own name in the snow. The poem is called Stupid. We were so fucked up, she says to her friend, laughing. We were so fucked up, it was like, and her friend says, yeah, we totally were. And I wonder what it would be like to be permanently stupid. To go through life at that altitude, just barely clearing the lowest rooftops and TV aerials, heading for the mountains. My friends and I used to try it, sitting around a day-glow bomb, brains turned to low, then lower, so unmoored and adrift, so hopelessly out of range of our calls to the lost vessels of each other, we could only giggle, wondering even as we did so, why? Now and then, the crippled submarine of an idea would try to surface out there on the stoned moment's glassy horizon, where the strawberry-scented candle burned like... The poem is called The White Museum. My aunt was an organ donor, and so the day she died, her organs were harvested for medical science. So I suppose there must be people who list under occupation organ harvester, people for whom it is always harvest season, each death bringing its bounty. They spend their days loading wagon loads of kidneys, whole cornucopias of corneas, burlap sacks groaning with hearts and lungs, and the pale green sprouts of gallbladders, and even from time to time, the weighty cauliflower of a brain. And perhaps today, as I sit in this cafe watching the snow and thinking about my aunt, a young medical student somewhere is moving through the White Museum of her brain, making his way slowly from one great room to the next. Here is the gallery of her girlhood, with that great canvas depicting her father holding her on his lap in the backyard of their bungalow in St. Louis. And here is a sketch of her the summer after her mother died, walking down a street in Berlin when the broken city was itself a museum. And here is a small, vivid oil of the two of us sitting in a cafe in London, arguing over the work of Constable or Turner or Francis Bacon after a visit to the Tate. I want you to know, as you sit there with your microscope and your slides, there's no need to be reverent before these images. That's the last thing she would have wanted. But do be respectful. Speak quietly. No flash photography. Tell your friends you saw something beautiful.